Hi, my name is Logan Shaw, and welcome to Logan's Story. Today we're going to learn about Disney in the 1940s and the trials and tribulations they had to face as a company. Thank you for coming. Let's get into it. So, Disney in the 1940s. Wartime. Budget cuts. Staff downsizing. War films. And the classic films that we all know today. Pinocchio. Bambi. Fun and Fancy Free. Unfortunately, Song of the South. Fantasia. All this implemented in the 40s. And because of that, there's no better way to put it than this. With trials comes many band-aids that need to be compressed down. And what that really means in sight of what Disney has to view is the scars that are left on the company for even years to come. See, in this time, the 1940s, war era was coming. That means the money that would be used to produce a Disney film is putting toward the war effort. And due to that, in the 1940s, there's a strike in place of Disney because of the mistreatment of some animators in terms of the Animators Guild. But all that to mean purpose, there's a lot of things that Disney is doing to implement changes in the company. And when there's a war effort going on, and you have to give war films to the proper propaganda in order to get the Army, Marines, and every multifaceted military branch to succeed in the war, that's exactly what Disney did. They made war films to the propaganda, to the proper notion of what war is. And because of that, it implemented a sort of flip for Disney. And due to that flip, it ended up making movies like Pinocchio. They ended up making movies like Fantasia. They ended up making movies like Bambi. All these great movies come from personal struggle. I mean, if you look at Bambi, Bambi's mother dies. In coercion to Walt Disney's mother dying. He created films out of his personal struggle. And whether or not that's the reason why Disney did what he did in his films, there's a lot to take away from this. And in spite of the man, in spite of the culture, in spite of the pressure, in spite of what was going on around in the 1940s in the Disney era. Well, here's what we can take away from this. What are you doing to sufficingly look at the nooks and crannies that is Disney in the 1940s? Well, let's go into detail. So when you have Disney in the 1940s, the wartime effort, the changes in media, personal strains amongst various people in the company, there's something that we can all learn about this. The 1940s being the war effort, and also building what was coming through from the Depression, it's kind of a no-brainer when you think about it. It's good and bad at the same time. And because of Disney, because of his tenacity to keep going and make films, and sometimes put his life into his work, it's elementary to think, okay, well, we have problems, but we have work to do. And that work may cause sacrifices, the downsizing of employees. That work may cause triumphs. Bambi, Pinocchio, all the other great films. There might be a surprise at the end of the day. Disneyland. There's a lot of things that go into play when you're talking about this era for Disney. Although it was hard, and even though it left scar tissue on the floor from being initiated in what it was initiated in, Disney of course, those scars never left, and they turned into battle marks. Just like in a war, if you come back alive, you come back with scars. That's what the Disney company was trying to do. Keep its head above water, and also to keep breathing when it was hard to breathe sometimes. And it successfully did it. Even though it was one of the hardest decades for Disney, it was one of the most triumphant decades for Disney due to its filmscape, due to its experimentation on new levels in terms of films, the multiplane camera, the new artistic style and design, the build of Mickey Mouse and the characters to be, we all love to be, and that enticing detail led to a lot of changes for Disney when it came from the 1940s to the 1950s. Some I can't give you until next video, but let's just say the planning for new technologies was always there. And that's what Disney loved to play with. And that's what Disney is always good at. The future. Looking toward what could be. And that never left him in the 1940s. No matter what strike, no matter what wartime, no matter what inconsistency that went on in his life, he was able to make it happen. And the people who were around him were able to make it happen too. Application, of course. Okay, so this big establishment means one thing. In tough times, do you give up? In tough times, do you throw the towel in? In tough times, do you kick the bucket? I would say in tough times like YouTube, going through tough times now, I don't make money from YouTube. So at one point I would. But I'd rather go through the tough times, the busting your ass type thing. And at the end of the day, will I make it? If I don't give up, and you don't give up, it's possible that we can make it through and find the light at the end of the tunnel. When we find that light, a surprise may be waiting for us at the end of the tunnel. When we open a new door, a surprise may be waiting on the other side. And when we find that canyon and make that leap of faith, there's something to behold on the other side. Thank you for my application. Let's continue forward. Thank you for my Logan story. Thank you for the events of Disney. There are more events at a later date, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys know when we get there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also by hitting the bell. Leave a comment if you can too. Thank you again, and peace.